Welcome back to the finish line in association with Betopin.com. For all the latest odds from the world leading bookmakers, head over to Betopin.com. So today, as you can see, I'm on my own. Tom is on holidays. So just going to concentrate on some of the big races from the week. There's a good 3-day meeting at York, and there's the Lockinge from Newbury on Saturday. So kick off at Wednesday, 3 o'clock at York. Now, there's a horse in this I really like, and it's Invincible Army. He's been a good enough horse last season, the season before, but he seems that they're taking another step forward from his season to come back at Doncaster the last day, where he had Equilateral in behind him, and that form's been boosted by him, where he was beaten a nose by Mavs Cross at Newmarket. Also, Major Jumbo was also in that race, so he was third behind that, so there's substance to his form. So I think he's going to be hard to beat in this. He's around 7-2, 3-1 shot. But there's one at a bigger price that interests me as well. It's Yafta. He ran at Newmarket as well the same day as Equilateral. And he got done on the line by, I think it was a 60-1 shot, but the race fell apart and he was up with the pace the whole time, and he was the only one that was still there at the end. So if he gets his act together and stops lugging into the rail a lot, I think he could run a big race. He's about 12-1 shot the last time I looked at it. But I think this is Invincible Armies for the taking for a good season ahead for him. Next, I'll go on to the Musador. Over 1 mile and 2.5 furlongs. The Group 3. There's one, the one in this I really like is Sparkle Roll. Oshie Murphy will be on this. He looked fairly green winning the last day. He looks like a really top notcher. His favourite is not an enterprising, but I think he's going to be very, very good. He didn't like the ground. He wasn't letting himself down. It was good to form that day. He beat King Power, who's an alright, decent horse, by 2.5 lengths. It's forecast to be good ground, good to yielding at the moment. So I think a better ground, a bit of giving it, and I think this horse could be not a world beater, but it could be a fairly good season ahead for him. So on that, I think he could be the one to beat in this. There's one, another big price is David O'Mara's Blue Gardenia. He ran, I can't remember where he ran the last day, but I remember watching it and he absolutely flew at the finish. I think if they use the same tactics with him but go a bit earlier, he's around a 14-1 shot. I think this fella could run into place at a big price. But I think Sparkle Roll could be one to watch for the whole season at York. Next is the Return of Latida, another one that I think is going to be very, very hard to beat on last season's form. 1 3/4 lengths behind Magical in the Champions Fillies and Mares at Ascot, and 2.5 lengths behind Kew Gardens in the St. Leger. If she turns up in any form like that, even 90% fit, she's going to be very, very, very hard to beat. It's plain and simple. I think she's 6-4, 7-4. She's going to be extremely, extremely hard to beat. So we leave that behind. So next, I'm going to go on to another horse in the same colours. Is Too Darn Hot. Myself, I think this could be the horse. This could end up being the champion 3-year-old of the season. Skipped the Guineas, got a little heat in his hind leg before it. He's returning in this, and I think he's a huge price. He's not a huge price, but he's very, very, very backable. He's 2-1. I would not be worried about the injury that he's had to have. And it's not even an injury. He had a bit of heat. They took precaution and took him out of the Guineas. John Gosling would not be running him here if he wasn't right. And I think he's going to take this and go on to take the Derby. This thing is an absolute monster. If I could get it, I'd get the double for him to win this now and to win the Derby, because I think he's that good. I think Japan is down to running this as well, but I still think this is a bit short of his ideal trip. I know he's run over shorter last season, but I think this horse is crying out for a trip big time. Take notice of him in his run, and I reckon he'll be flying at the finish, but I think he'll be doing well to catch Too Darn Hot. So I know his first run of the season. I think Too Darn Hot is my nap of the week. He's running on Thursday in the Dante. We go on to Friday and we see the return of the Stayers Triple Crown winner in Stradivarius. this is not an easy race for him to get back into. He's even money. He's up against who I think is going to beat him is the Mark Johnson trained DXB. I've liked this horse since last year. His run in the Derby was good. I've always thought a nice step up and trip would suit him. I know it's not much of a step up from last season, but he won very well around Ascot over 2 miles. He had a race, he was getting niggled along coming into the home straight, and the second that Sylvester de Sousa let him down, off he went, won easy enough. I think he is way, way, way too weak. He's 7-1 at the moment. He's an each way bet to nothing. He will be placed. I will be shocked if he's not placed, and I think he'll actually go on to win this. I don't think Stradivarius is going to be revved up for this properly, because his aims are going to be retaining his Triple Crown. So I think DXB is going to be right there at the finish. So my Friday nap is DXB at York. On to Saturday, and we have the Lockinge, where we have very, very interesting race. So top of the market, we have Libervado. He's having a second run for Aidan O'Brien after leaving Andre Farb. He made a satisfactory comeback at Naas in April, missed the break, was a few lengths behind, and absolutely flew at the finish to get third. I think he's going to be extremely hard to beat on the back of that run. Now, he's coming up against a top class filly in Lawrence. If this was our second run of the season, I would have Lawrence a clear favourite. I'd have her 2-1, 6-7-4. I think she's that good. She beat very, very, very classy fields last year. But on the back of Libervado's run at Naas, and Aidan O'Brien's always seemed to come on for the run, I think this is the time to catch him, and he's 3-1 at the moment, I think. And I think that's a fair price. He's a very classic horse. He was very good for Andre Farb. He won at the Guineas meeting, or one of them meetings at Newmarket, I think it's last year. And I think he's going to take another step forward for Aidan O'Brien. One at a bigger price is Magical Myth. He's about 10-1. He's very interesting on his maiden form. His last run there, and I think it was a Group 2, he absolutely hosed in. But I take maiden form with a pinch of salt. They don't always convert the form from maiden back to England when they come over. So if he runs a solid race in this, like gets placed at a big price, he could be one to keep an eye on for the rest of the season if he drops down to Group 2s, Group 3s. But I think Le Bravado will be very hard to beat in this for Aidan O'Brien. There's one more that's coming out of the weekend. It's Crystal Ocean. He's running the first on Saturday. He could have a very interesting season ahead. They're kind of stuck in 2 minds of what to aim from, whether to step him up to Gold Cup or whether to keep him back, drop him down a trip. But another one to keep an eye on, interested on. But that said, my nap of the week will be Two That Hot, and my next best will be Le Bravado in the Lockinge. So that's another week out of the way. So I won't be here next week, so it'll be Tom from next week and the week after, and then Tuesday we'll be back together again. Whether that's good or not, nobody knows. So that's it, lads. Thanks again for watching. Best of luck at the weekend, and Tom will see you next week.